All right, folks, we're going to go over this real quick. There are two candidates, John McCain and Barack Obama, that are telling you what to think and how you should vote. They're telling you great things, lots of stuff, lots of promises. There really is one thing that you need to consider, one question you need to ask yourself, and depending upon how you answer that question may, in fact, be the biggest factor in how you vote. So here it is, real simple. Barack Obama's plan is to tax the wealthiest, to tax big oil, to tax big insurance companies, and to use that tax revenue to give middle class and lower income folks an additional tax refund and health insurance premiums or whatever, all kinds of things. So here is the question, and I'm going to put it up here on the board so you can use some numbers. We're going to make up numbers. The numbers don't matter. It's the concept that does. And we're going to use big oil because that's the buzzword politicians like to use, and that's the one you hear most often. The politicians have really done a good job in creating some anger again amongst the American people towards the oil companies because they make obscene profits. But so let's go quick. The oil company made $100 billion in 2008. Again, the numbers don't matter. They're not real. They're just for example. $100 billion. And status quo today, let's just say, the taxes charged, levied upon that oil company on its profits, on its revenue, is $10 billion. That leaves $90 billion in profits. Okay? Yes, the executives are going to get a boatload of money. The upper management's going to get a boatload of money. The guy at the bottom may get a little raise, or he's got some health benefits, whatever. But a good part of that, or some part of that, ends up going here to this guy. He's happy. Look at that happy guy. That's the investors. There are millions of Americans that invest in oil companies through their 401ks, through their pension plans, whatever. Millions and millions of Americans that have investments in mutual funds that somewhere along the line may have some stock in oil companies. So these people are happy because they get a good return. That's why they've invested in oil companies for decades. Because oil companies always make more money the year after. The price of the oil company stock goes up and you make money. So that's good. Here's Barack's plan. We're going to add an additional $40 billion in taxes. We're going to take more. We're going to have a windfall profits tax. We're going to take some of that profit away from the oil company because it's obscene profit. And again, the numbers don't matter. I don't care what the numbers are. It's the concept. $40 billion, let's say, in additional taxes to the oil company because they're making too much money, and we want to give that money to the middle class. So $40 billion in taxes. Here's the question, folks. Well, before we get to the question, real quick, what happens to this guy, the investor? Millions of Americans, not just the wealthiest. Blue-collar folks have money invested in oil companies. What happens to this guy? Well, that's what happens to him. The return on his investment is not nearly as good as it was, okay? Because they had to pay that $40 billion in tax. But here's the question. Do you believe that the oil company is going to willingly turn over additional tax revenue to the United States government so that it can be distributed amongst the middle class or the lower class or whatever class Barack decides and not do anything about it? They're just going to say, here's the extra billions of dollars in tax. We're happy to do that. Our investors are happy to forego their return. And that's how it's going to be. If you believe that, Barack's your guy. Go for it. Or do you believe that the oil company now has a $40 billion additional expense, an additional burden that they have to pay? So to keep this guy happy, they need investors, and you got to keep the investors happy. Are they going to raise the price of the goods and products that they produce to cover that additional expense? If you believe they're going to do that, then you can't vote for Barack Obama. That's the question. Is the oil company going to pay this without doing everything they can to recover that, to keep their profits up, to keep their investors happy? If they're going to pay that tax to the government and not try to make more money or raise prices, then Barack's your guy. If you hired a painter last year and he came to your house and said it's $5,000 to paint your house, you couldn't do it, so you waited a year, and now you got some money, you call the painter back, he can't do that job for $5,000. Paint is more expensive, gas for his truck is more expensive. Some of his employees have gotten better, they've improved their skills, and so maybe he pays them a little bit more. So a year after you got the $5,000 price, he comes back when you finally have some money saved up, and now it's $6,000. Makes sense, right? If the business's expenses go up, the prices of the products and services that they produce to sell to the public has to go up to compensate. Do oil companies work the same way as other businesses or insurance companies? When their expenses go up, do they have to raise the prices of the goods and services they provide, that they produce, to cover the additional expenses? If you believe no, then Brock's your guy. If you believe yes, then you can't vote for Brock. Make your decision, get out and vote. That's really the issue. Who's really going to pay that tax on the oil company?